Hello everybody, welcome to the newest series presented by CodeCyclone for the UDK development platform. My name is Chris Burkhart, the lead technical director and lead programmer at CodeCyclone. For those of you that have been with us before, we do games obviously in the UDK, but we're also trying to create educational material to help out. So this will be the first part in another long series that we'll have of various topics that we wanted to go over inside the UDK. So first things first, today we wanted to talk about game packages, since more or less that's where you're going to be storing all of your information. So if you don't know what you're looking at right here, this is the Unreal Front-End binary, which you should know where this is, but in case you don't, if you were to go to your C drive or your main hard drive and go to UDK, whichever build you're using, most people don't create separate folders like I do, but in case you do, it's inside whichever folder you're in, binaries, towards the bottom, Unreal Front-End. And that's where it'll be hiding. Alright, I already got that up. So what you're going to do is we're going to open up Unreal Editor before we start talking about it, just because it's good to have it open so we can see pretty much, or I can visually show you what a package is going to be doing for you. While it's loading, just in case you guys have to wait for either asset checks or anything like that. A game package in the UDK is kind of like a folder. It's a folder that you're storing all your game content in, more or less. It's going to store all your skeletal meshes, or pretty much whatever you stick inside of it. It'll store any game asset being a skeletal mesh, static mesh, materials, textures, sounds, anything that you'll physically see in the world, like all this stuff that's preset. This is all in a package. Now if you look over here, this is what usually pops up first. It's your content browser. If you look under here, you see this little packages explorer. I'll make this a little bigger so you guys can see what's going on here. And as you can see, these are folders, and it actually represents packages because this is a package. Well, I guess I should rephrase that. These are packages. CodeCyclone, Voice, and World Items. These are all packages. And inside those packages we have what we call groups, or categories. I believe they call them categories. Anyways, pretty much think of it like a folder. In this World Items folder, I have a static mesh called Mesh, another static mesh called Mesh, which if you look closely, one is under Medkit, so this is the static mesh that I'm using for my Medkit. And this is the static mesh I'm using for this orb objects. And I got two icons, or two 2D textures, player spawn and zombie spawn, which are under icons. And that's really all they are. They are just simply folders that are compiled or saved in a format where you can't necessarily open them in Windows Explorer, but you can open them inside the UDK content browser. Now let's go ahead and take a look at creating your first package. Now when you start up a game, as you see here, I kind of got a few things going, and it gives you a good idea of how you should break up your packages. Like think of things that really go together. Like for me, if I had a pawn, the pawns, I would put all their different skins in one package. As you see here, I got all the voices for each character. I got the Chris character, all his voices that I got in there so far. The zombie male, I got all his in there. And as you saw with the world items, even the CodeCyclone framework that I've been building for you guys is in here. You know, it's got its own stuff. Now to build your own, simply click the new button down here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you this little window here. Now it's going to default to whatever package you're in. You can either type in here and put something in there, or I believe in the newer versions of the UDK. No, they don't let you. It used to be where you could create a new package from there, but I guess in the newer ones you can't. So anyways, we'll do that. We will take out this, and let's just say we'll call it new package. You don't have to do a grouping if you don't want to, but it's certainly recommended just to keep things sorted out. It's always a good thing to have a grouping. This is, remember again, category or group, it's the same thing. and then you need to name the asset you're putting into it. By default, the UDK forces you to have an asset inside your package. Because I mean, if you have an empty package, what's the point in having that package? It's just a waste of memory. So pretty much, we'll just call it temp. And the factory is what class it's going to be made after. You can just leave it animation set for now. We click OK. We can go out of there. And as you see here under new packages, we have new package star, which means that we created a new package called new package, and the star means that it has to be saved. So when we go Control S, which is the shortcut key for saving, it gives us a little prompt, and it takes you automatically to the UDK folder inside your development folder, and then into the content subdirectory of that. Now, if we take a minute and just try to draw some comparisons here, we can notice some things. Look at this guy here, where my cursor is. See how it says UDK game? Notice how this says UDK game, and then content, and then this guy says content. And if you look inside there, we got a couple different things. We got my folder Code Cyclone. I bet you if we go in here, sure enough, we got our 3 packages. Code Cyclone right there, voice, and world items. Now this extension .upk is the Unreal package extension. I think the actual extension means Unreal Package Kit or something like that. Unimportant, but just so you know, that's the extension you'll see when it comes to packages. Now when you're coding and you compile your code, that'll be a .u file. Don't be confused with those. .u is code, .upk is like assets. Alright. Now, you can save it wherever you want. It has to be in the content folder just for the sake of the engine being able to find it. Well, actually, I don't know about that, but it's just good practice to be into, to keep it in there. If pretty much put it this way, when you're working on the Unreal Engine, if Epic does it, you should probably be doing it too, because they pay programmers all year long to just develop this engine over and over again. So if they're doing it, they probably have it right, and you shouldn't mess with the formula they got going on just because they know what they're doing. They got college educations for that kind of stuff. Not everybody who comes into the UDK development does. Not saying that they're any different as far as the programming goes, but just the knowledge is there for them, whereas others it isn't. So anyways, we'll just go ahead and save it inside Code Cyclone. Why not? We'll save it there. Now if you watch, it's been moved into the Code Cyclone folder, and then it's been changed into that package line. So now we have new package here. Now one thing to notice, see how this is white and this is like translucent? Now what this means is that it's not loaded, or fully loaded rather. What you can do is you can right click and you can fully load it, and it'll bring everything that's in this package into memory. They do this to save on processing time. Typically if it's not a used package like in your game or by some classes of the game type, it will simply just load a few items in it so you can see what's in there, just to save on the processing time so it loads fast. But if you're using it, I definitely recommend loading it fully. Now take note that folders will always be grayed out. Those you can't fully load no matter what. It's only packages that can be fully loaded or unloaded. Okay? Now, going back to what we were saying earlier, if we go to that listing that we had, and I'll make this a little bit bigger if I can. It's not 10 times better. But if we go into here, we go into our project directory, go to UDK game, we go to content, which is where our assets are stored. Like I was saying before, there's the Code Cyclone folder, and these are our packages that I have in this custom game. Alright, and so if you need to transfer these to something new, you can literally click and drag them out. I would definitely remember to bring the folder with you, or make a new one, just so that you can find them. Again, if you can't ever find them in here and you know they exist, you can always use the import feature, and you, I believe, are able to import Unreal packages. Hold on. Let's take a look here. It should find them automatically. In older versions you could. No, I guess not. I guess they just kind of force the directory structure and that'll find it for you. But that is pretty much all that you need in order to cover a package. So just remember, when you're using this stuff, you got your packages here, you can import them now. We've gone over that. Just use the new feature and you can create a new package. You know how to find them. They're inside your project directory, which is on your main hard drive under UDK game, and then the content folder, and then whichever area you've placed it in. Alright, and you can find your stuff from there, and really start, before you start your game rather, start thinking about how you want to split up your assets, because that really is a big problem with a lot of games. They start getting really bulky packages. Take Triangulation, our first product that we put out. The packages on there are kind of big. Now granted, for our assets it's not terribly huge, and we use a lot of the stuff, so the package is going to be accessed a lot, so it's not that big a deal. But for some more commercial grade games, or ones that are really far out there as far as complexity goes, you know, having something where there's a lot of talking like Skyrim, you know, a voice class where all the voices are in their own package is pretty useful. It cuts down on how much access time that you need to be using to get to that package inside your class. Now granted, I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of the entire Unreal system, but from what I've seen on other engines, it's pretty much the same idea. So be thinking about that. You know, what is the most logical approach to separating out my information so that my packages reflect that? You know, like take world items for example. It's anything that's going to be a general item inside my game. You know, I got each category will have, well, I don't have textures on here, but like take medkit for example. It'll have its static mesh, it'll have its texture and its material, and anything else like a sound cue that goes with it. And it's, you know, logical progressions like that, like voices. You know, Chris's voice, Zombie Male's voice. So be thinking about that. It's just something to think about. So that's it for tonight. We're gonna probably cover into some importation details, like importing these assets to make it a little bit easier for you, and working with a few of these that are kind of common. Just something to give you guys a little introduction into it. So that'll be next time. Aside from that, if you guys have questions, always feel free to comment or send us an email at videos@codecyclone.com, or check us out codecyclone.com, see what we've been up to. And till next time, guys.